We have been traveling the rich fertile lands of Kenya, far and wide, across the highlands and lowlands of this beautiful country, talking to farmers wherever we go.
We want to give them the help and knowledge they need to improve their farming methods,
increase their income, and turn around their farms into good business for the future.
Join us and our experts on this journey and share their families' experiences as they make the changes.
Karibu to Shamba Shape Up Safari. What do you do if there's a drought for 2 years? I mean, I'm talking about 4 seasons.
Water is scarce, crops don't grow.
And how do you farm in extreme dry areas?
Time to call on
Shamba Shape Up.
Meet Joseph, Veronica, their daughter-in-law Eunice, her 2 children, granddad, and 12-year-old grandson Brian.
And Brian would like to start up a chicken farm to help the family income.
They live and farm this terraced shamba in the dry lands area near Machakos.
But the weather here hasn't been good. They have suffered a drought for 2 years. That's 4 seasons. And they're experiencing a lot of problems.
So now is the time for us to make an appearance, see how we can shape up their shamba.
Labda kwa kifupi tueleze ni shida gani ambazo unapata kwa shamba lako?
Shida ya kwanza ni ng'ombe. Dume. Ya pili ni mbolea. Ya tatu ni ile matuta. Hiyo sheria ya kusulia ile mchanga.
Udongo.
Ile siwe na maji. Ya.
Na mimea unapanda kama chakula gani hapa?
Chakula napanda mahindi, baazi, maragwe na mihogo.
What Joseph has been telling me is that he's been having lots of problems in his shamba. He's been trying his best and he needs to diversify his crops. He needs advice on that. He needs to know how to make terraces. He needs to know how to make compost. And of course he talked about lack of oxen for his farm. He needs to use them to plow.
Sasa Veronica, na wewe shida una gani?
Shida yangu ni maji. Kipanda mboga bila maji nakauka. Unajua kipanda mboga naenda kushota maji na ile kibuyu ya lita 20.
Na unachota wapi hapa?
Huko mtoni.
Ni mbali?
Ni mbali. Kwa siku na shadanga tungi 10. Nachoka sana. Lakini nikipata maji naweza fanya kazi nyingi.
Sasa unataka maji kama kama ile ya kunyunyiza sasa?
Ya kunyunyizia.
Okay, na unauza kwa soko?
Nauza. Nauza, lakini wakati huyu hakuna maji. Kivunzwa kutengeneza ile double digging. Sasa fanya kazi nyingi.
What Veronica says is that her main problem is water. Well, every day she walks from the river up the hill with a 20-liter can, and she says it's very, very tiring. Another thing that she would love to know is how to do double digging, where she can have more produce and sell in the market. Brian, unataka kulea kuku kwa nini?
Ili nipate pesa.
Pesa tu peke yake? Na nini?
Mayai.
Kwa hiyo unataka kuku mingi sana ama unataka kidogo tu?
Mingi sana.
Unataka mingi sana? Ndio upate pesa mingi sana. Brian here, who is 12 years old, is Veronica's grandchild. He's very shy. But he says he would love to rear chickens. He's in class 6. And his dream is to have as many chickens as possible and make lots of money.
Joseph, we've listened to all the problems that you've told us, and we'll try to help out where we can. Now today, you and Veronica and some of your neighbors are going to go with us to Katumani to meet the experts at Kari. They'll help you out, right? And of course, there'll be Kenchik on board, which are going to help young Brian with his chickens. Okay, let's go to Katumani and see.
Joseph and Veronica's neighbors, Daniel and Jane, often drop by for a cup of tea and to chat about their mutual farming difficulties.
Daniel and Jane grow some excellent fruit trees, and Veronica and Joseph would like to do the same. But most of all, our couple needs some expert advice on all their other problems.
As all 4 of them live near the very excellent Kari station at Katumani, a research center dedicated to farming the drylands areas, we suggest we take them to see what advice the curry experts can give.
Cheran Arithi, an outreach specialist at Kari, is more than happy to help and starts by telling the foursome the benefits of crop diversification if one is farming in a dry area. Mr. Cheran, Joseph is a very hard-working farmer, but, well, you know, he comes from these areas and he's having problems with these crops. So what would you advise him to plant that will diversify in his field, you know? What kind of crops?
I would advise him to plant beans, which are maturing, the cassava.
Beans, cassava.
Which he can be able to sell in the market.
Or for market sale?
Yes.
Okay.
I can also advise him to go for the sorghum, which has already market as we are talking.
So you are recommending crops that have low maturity period and can also be marketable?
Marketable.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that if you diversify and you plant 3 types of plants, yeah, things will be good?
Definitely. You have a harvest.
So what kind of management do these crops need?
You have to harvest the water, which is very, very important in arid areas like where we are. You have to do the weeding at the right time. That is, immediately you plant and you receive some showers, you have to do the weeding after the 2nd week after germination. The 2nd weeding, you do it the 3rd week to 4th week after germination. And you make sure that the water you have trapped, the single drop of water of rain which falls there, and you'll be able to harvest.
As water is so crucial in this region, our curry expert goes on to explain the basics of drip irrigation, something that can help solve many of farming problems associated with the drylands.
This is a drip irrigation, and it uses a very little amount of water, and it is very good in semi-arid areas.
Hii inafanya kazi namna gani?
The drip irrigation, we have the tank which you can see there. We have a pipe which comes from there. It distributes water on this side, and then the water comes with these pipes, and there are hoses which are put at intervals depending on the crop which you want to grow, and it releases water from these hoses you can see here.
Hii maji inaweza kunipatia kwa wakati wa kiangazi.
It releases the water slowly by slowly. So you need very little water in the tank, and it will be enough for you to grow a crop throughout the season.
Na hii inachukua gharama ya pesa mingi, yani kununua hii mifereji.
It depends on the size of the drip irrigation kit you want. We have even some which are smaller for about 20 liters. We have for 200 liters.
The cost of installing these drip systems changes according to which size tank is used. But the increase in crop output will soon pay for the tank and the hoses. Well, I think this will be ideal for your Shamba, Joseph and Veronica. You know, you'll be able to grow lots and lots of vegetables, and you'll grow very healthy, and you'll be able to work in your farm. And eventually, you are going to be a millionaire, and you are going to take care of him when he's being a millionaire. Yeah? Okay, I hope so.
Curry promises to send out a number of experts to Joseph and Veronica's Shamba to show them how to put into practice all they've been shown. What an opportunity!
Meanwhile, back on the Shamba, we have invited Dr. Moses Owino, a veterinary officer at Kenchik, to come and advise Joseph and Veronica on how to build a suitable chicken shed for Brian's indigenous chicken project.
When you're constructing the chicken shed, it is important there are several factors you have to consider. The first one, you have to look at the direction of the sun, because you don't want direct sunlight getting into the poultry house. When you have direct sunlight getting into the poultry house, you have a problem of the birds going to crowd where the light is. When they are crowding, they start developing behaviors like cannibalism and pecking. The other thing that you have to consider is the ventilation. So when you're building the shed, you must make sure that the house is well ventilated. So you allow open sides. You build an open-sided house. The other thing that you are going to consider is the space. you have to construct a house that is able to accommodate the number of birds that you have, because you don't want the problem of overcrowding in the poultry. The other thing that you're going to consider is the drainage, because this place is hilly. You don't want the run of water to be getting into the poultry house. So you'll have to consider where to put the drainage to direct away the run of water. The other thing that you have to consider is the disease control. When you are constructing the poultry shed, you have to construct a footbath at the entrance where you're going to dip your feet in a disinfectant before you get into the poultry house. Okay, the floor has to be flat and level, and it can either be cemented or earthen. If it is earthen, make sure it is compact and level, because you don't want depressions in the poultry house. The roofing, don't make a flat roof, because when it's hot, there's a lot of heat radiation which gets to the birds, causes heat stress, and they develop cannibalism, and even the production goes down. So make sure you make a pitched roof with a ventilation on top that you're going to cover with chicken wire, because you don't want the small birds to get into.
Asante sana kwa kuletea kuku na tunashukuru.
Karibu.
Karibu.
Although the structure of a chicken shed is important, extra features both inside and out also have to be considered if you want the chicks to survive and be healthy.
It will need good ventilation, curtains to keep in the heat, wood shavings on a level floor, a round brooding pen so that the chicks don't come to harm, a jiko to keep them warm, proper feeders and drinkers, and methods to control infection.
We leave Mwangi and the team to carry on working, but for us, it's time to take stock. Isn't it nice that Joseph's and Veronica's Shamba is so near Kari in Katumani?
Oh yes, and they have got great experts who are training farmers on how to farm in dry lands.
And we are lucky they've given a helping hand to
Shamba Shepherd. Coming up, does the drip irrigation really work?
And can Veronica handle the plow's new attachments?
Joseph and Veronica have been farming their 4-acre shamba in the drylands of Machakos for 41 years.
Recently, times have been even more tough because of a 2-year drought. So, at our suggestion, they and their neighbors sought advice from Kari, the agricultural research station nearby at Katumani.
They were told how to diversify their crops and shown the benefits of drip irrigation. Kari also promised to send their experts to the Shamba to lend a helping hand.
First problem to be tackled by a Kari expert is irrigation.
Veronica has to walk far to get water from the river to irrigate her crops. But by installing a drip irrigation system in her kitchen garden, as seen earlier at Kari, her problems would be halved.
David Ngao, the Kari outreach specialist, explains.
Yes, this water, when controlled with the technology of the drip, as per the name, will be able to irrigate the crop within that area.
Is it easy to use?
Of course, it is very easy to use, more so within the dry land to produce some crop. Why? Simply it uses little water, as the name drip by drop within the root area of the plant.
Mr. Ngao, this is fascinating technology. Would you mind showing us how it works?
It's very simple. Installation of the system, which we are calling drum irrigation kit.
To construct the drum irrigation system, first, construct a platform about 1.5 meters high, as the system requires gravity to disperse its water. Lift the drum into place and screw in the connectors. Then attach the main big hose from which the lateral drip hoses are attached. Once all the hoses are attached and laid out, fill the drum with water and stand back to watch your kitchen garden turns green with healthy vegetables. The drum irrigation kit is highly effective in its distribution of water, as the water is taken directly to each plant rather than scattering over a large area as with a conventional system.
How simple yet effective this drip irrigation system is. But Mr. Ngao doesn't stop there. He's on a mission to harvest every drop of rainwater wherever it may fall.
Already the installed drum kit, irrigation drum kit, 230 liters. In dry land areas, water is a very important component, and we need to devise technologies of harvesting any little water available in the dry land areas. The gutters within our houses, we need to improve them and install many of them so that we can capture any drop of water which is going to fall more so during this rain season and utilize it later on to produce any crop for domestic use and supplies for selling. That is all.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Well, that's something such Shamba can do, right?
Oh, yes. We are going to strike these gutters down. Mwange!
Oh, yes.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Thanks, David. Good advice. And while we are at it, let's install an overspill tank so nothing is wasted.
So that Joseph and Veronica can irrigate their crops thoroughly, the team will install a 300-liter overspill tank to capture as much rainwater as possible from the roof of the Shamba. Veronica's kitchen garden is important to her. Any surplus crops grown can be sold in the market for some extra income, which can also be used to buy seeds.
I met up with Veronica while she's in town so we can visit Unga, the well-known chicken feed manufacturers. Veronica needs to know the best way to feed Brian's chicks, which should be arriving later on today from Kenchick. And George Morani gives us the benefit of his expert knowledge.
Now the feeding regime for the Kenbro, we normally start them when they are between 1 day and 3 weeks. That is 21 days. We start them with a feed called the Unga Fast Grow Starter Mash. This feed, they are given immediately they arrive in the farm. They eat to satisfaction. And once they eat to satisfaction, it means that if she was to measure, at the end of 3 weeks, they should have eaten between 850 grams to 1 kilo maximum.
If the maximum consumption per chick in the first 3 weeks is 1 kilogram of mash, then we can say 50 birds is equal to 50 kilograms of mash.
After 3 weeks, these birds will be ready to go out and free range. So after doing the broiler starter mash for 3 weeks, then she will come to a feed we call the Unga Fast Grow Finisher Mash. These again, they'll consume for another 3 weeks. So by then, these birds will have matured and ready to free range to mix. So they'll be reared until they start producing eggs. Because they are big birds, when you relate them with the layers and the modern broilers, these birds are big in body size.
Itaipatia maji namna gani?
Now that's a good question. Once the birds arrive into the poultry house or the poultry unit, they are supposed to find water already in the house. Yeah? So this water should be at the expected room temperature. It has to be fresh, clean water. So it means the drinkers must be cleaned on a daily basis. For a young man like Brian, he can feed these chicks any time of the day. But we recommend, since I know he should be in school, he should wake up in the morning before going to school, put feeds in the feeders, and then comes back maybe at lunchtime to check if they have finished. He should add more. And since these are dual-purpose breeds that needs to grow fast and eat, then in the evening again, they should be given more feed. To start off, Monica, we are going to give her 1 bag of the Unga Fast Grow Starter Mash and another bag of the Unga Fast Grow Finisher Mash, so that her first 6 weeks will be taken care of by the company.
Thank you very much.
Having learned all about chicken feed from George, let's see how the shed is getting on back at the Shamba. The chicks will soon be here. Handy Mwangi and his team have worked tirelessly to finish the rearing pen. Keep it up, guys, keep it going.
And while that is going on, 3 experts from Kari turn up as promised to advise Veronica on new developments in plowing, crop diversification, and anchoring those terraces.
Please meet David Ngao, Johnston Maina, and once again Cheran Arithi.
First of all, Johnston Miner shows Veronica some new and important attachments for the plow, which help when plowing in dry areas.
This one, the subsoiler and a reaper to replace, or which can do the same the work before the onset of the rain instead of the moldboard plow which is here. This implement is good for breaking the hard pan which is below the soil so that you can have water penetrating deeper and a proper root development for the crop.
Then Mr. Cherin Arethi demonstrates how to practice crop diversification, a method of planting which is hugely beneficial in times of drought.
Naweza kupanda nini?
In this field, you can grow cowpeas, you can grow pigeon peas. For the importance of crop diversification, cowpeas, you can be able to harvest the vegetables. You can also be able to harvest and sell, and you get money in your pocket. You buy also maize from the market, so that is what we call crop diversification. You will never suffer because you have missed enough rainfall.
And on to anchoring those all-important terraces with a collection of grasses. Once again, Mr. Arethi shows Veronica the best way to proceed.
The way they are made is you get the soil from this side, you heap it there. To maintain that terrace, you need to grow Napier grass, as you can see this one. This was made about 4 years ago, and you can see even the Napier, it is still looks very green because of the showers which we have had, and it has retained all the water from the other terrace there, and that's the reason why you can see it growing right now.
Some things to remember when embracing these new methods.
The plow attachments, excellent for breaking up dry soil, can be hired or bought from a farming outlet.
Seeds such as pigeon peas or cowpeas can be bought from Kari or any other reputable seed merchant.
Fertilizers are used to encourage strong growth and maximize crops. And the grasses to anchor the embankment are cheap, or take plant cuttings from Shamba and it will cost you nothing at all.
Useful expert advice all round. Veronica has learned so much from the Kari experts. But the chicken shed has to be signed off by yet another expert, Dr. Moses Owino, the vet officer from Kenchik.
Will the chicken shed be good enough for the day-old chicks Kenchik is donating to the family to help Brian achieve the dream of starting his own chicken farm?
A lot depends on what he has to say.
I can see you've done the ventilation, right?
Yes.
The roofing, the ventilation at the top, the wall. It's 3 feet, the recommended one. And the curtains, you've done it on the outside, which is the recommended one. And again, I can see you've made it in a way that you open it from the top. Because you want to avoid chilling the chicks when you open the curtain. Okay, so you can see you have the footpath, the overall, which is good for disease control. The brooder is well done. As we discussed before, you need a round brooder. You're supposed to use the chick tray the first 10 days. And you'll realize that the chick tray is rough. Because when they are feeding, you don't want them to be sleeping when the surface is smooth. The drinkers, you're going to use them at a ratio of 1 to 80 chicks. So the ones you have here, I can see they're enough. The jiko, it's well done. The hood is actually supposed to be reflecting the heat back to the chicks, so you don't want to waste heat. You can see also you've done the laying nests, which is good. You've provided the bedding. Yeah.
Although Kenchik has paid for the shed and donated the chicks, there are other costs to consider.
The pen will need feeders and drinkers.
You will need to feed and inoculate the chicks.
But when you consider the profit that would be made by selling high-quality eggs and meat, that expenditure would soon be recouped. Well worth investing. We've been really busy on Joseph and Veronica's Shamba.
Yes, we've introduced them to the Kari experts
who've tackled their irrigation problems
and advised on their crop dilemmas.
And thanks to Kenchik, the chicks have finally come home to roost.
Time for a rest.
I think that's some of Joseph and Veronica's farming problem solved.
But I feel we've not finished our work yet.
But we've got excellent experts at Kari Katumani.
Yeah, we will return with more
Shaping Up. Wow, I've really learned so much on this Shamba. And the only way I can remember it all is by getting in touch with Shamba Shape Up. by SMSing them and asking for a leaflet that covers all what you've been doing. This is what you get. SMS the word below with your name and address to 5606 and we will send you the leaflet.